What's up, fight fans, and welcome back to another edition of My Marijuana Chronicles, as always brought to you by our good friends at O2 Vape. Make sure you vape safe and check them out at o2vape.com. Use promo code MyMMANews at checkout for 20% off your order. This edition of My Marijuana Chronicles, we have Eaton Hemp CBD, one of their owners, Bryan D'Alessandro. He's on to break down their products, some of their products on their line, their sponsored fighter, Super Elvis Gasha, who's a glory fighter, kickboxer, how you can become one of their sponsored athletes, as well as they break down what makes them different from every other product out there. When you shop Eaton Hemp CBD, use MMA30 at checkout for 30% off your order, and they also give you a 30-day money-back guarantee. You have nothing to lose. Check them out at EatonHempCBD.com. All right, I'm back with another edition of My Marijuana Chronicles, being joined by my man, Bryan D'Alessandro. He represents Eaton's Hemp CBD. We are proud to have him on. First, Bryan, it's our first time talking, brother. How are you? Thank you for joining me.
Doing great, Adam. Thanks so much for having me on the show. Really excited to talk to you and your audience today about CBD.
Awesome. It's a pleasure. And it's one of those things that is absolutely booming right now. Cannabis and MMA, and just as far as just a relief and an natural alternative source of relief. So I wanted to talk about some of your background and why you got into cannabis specifically, if you can talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have two partners in the business, and we're all very active people. Mark's an ultra endurance athlete. Dan is an avid skier and just started kickboxing. Myself, I've always trained in the gym, weights, high interval training, practice Aikido, and trained yoga instructor. So for us, we've always been very active, and we beat up on our body a lot. And, getting older, we're all over 40 now. So, we were first growing hemp for other reasons, but as we started to discover the power of CBD, we really got into it and spent a lot of time on making sure we could bring the best quality products to the market.
And speaking of quality, I want to get straight into that, because that seems like there's such a misinformation, to where we were talking a little bit before we started recording. You can find CBD anywhere, a gas station, local video store, anywhere, and it makes you wonder, like, what's legit, what's not. So I want to talk about Eaton's Hemp CBD and what makes your product different and more reliable than those brands that you can just get anywhere, Groupon especially,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in the industry, it's called the green rush. Everyone has just run towards the cannabis space. That's marijuana, CBD, hemp. And so there's a lot of players out there, and not all of them are experienced. There are some bad players who are bringing stuff to market that just shouldn't be, I think one of the perfect examples of that is like gummies and candies, where it's just chock full of sugar, which is the biggest inflammation causing ingredient, with something that's a natural anti-inflammatory. So anyways, I mean, as far as our brand goes, we're farmer owned. We're 100% USDA organic. We held off on coming to the market until we could have an organic product. I'll touch on real quickly why USDA organic, in particular with hemp, is so critical. Hemp is a really special plant. It has a lot of capabilities and a lot of different uses, but in particular, it's in this regard, it's a natural soil remediation. And so that means that if you have something toxic on the land, you could use hemp to extract those toxins from it. It was used after Chernobyl disaster. It was used in Fukushima after the power plants exploded. And so it's something that you want to make sure you have really clean soil you're growing it in, so that you're not pulling any of the junk in. You want high nutrients, so that's going into the product instead. So organic was a big one for us in this case. I think it's really important. So whether you're looking at our product or others, look for organic. It's a great safeguard as of right now. I think a couple of the other things is we are unfiltered and full spectrum. What that means is we try to honor the plant as a whole plant and don't try to outsmart it. We don't go into a lab and try to extract. You have different distillates and isolates that's in a lab taking out just the CBD molecules. There's a whole range of stuff happening in CBD that's working to cause anti-inflammation characteristics. It's helping for recovery and all these other amazing things. The terpene profile that goes along with the CBD is really important. So we keep that full spectrum and profile of terpenes in the product. We're not adding other terpenes back in and as an afterthought. We're taking it how nature intended it. So those are a couple of the things that really set us apart. I can get into our specific products in a little bit and tell you what makes them very unique as well.
So when you first got into it, you and your business partners, You said you were growing it for your reasons, this, that, and the other, but what made you get into it and want to merge with combat sports? Because you have, we're going to talk in a little bit about your sponsored fighter, Glory Kickboxer, Super
Mm-hmm.
Elvis Gashi. So what made you want to make the merge and crossover?
Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, it's the lifestyle we're living. Mark trains at Renzo Gracie here in New York City, and that's where Elvis was training, and that's how we got connected with him. I practiced Aikido for a number of years, and so this is just something that, as we experience it in our day-to-day life, and see the benefits, we want to share it with as many people as possible. And again, I go back to the fact that as you're getting older too, it's an amazing thing to have in the kit.
Yeah. So why do you think now the stigma is finally like subsiding? And, the typical when we were growing up is, drugs are drugs, drugs bad, this, that, you know what I mean? And finally the stigma, it's finally getting a little bit taken away, dissolved. And now people are taking it for the actual benefit that it is.
Yeah, it's amazing how much power we give to a law, whether
Mm-hmm.
we agree with it or not. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think it's important that we always are free thinkers and considering things. And now that it has been legalized, the hemp farm bill that passed and made agricultural hemp legal, and CBD in most forms is legal now. Cannabis is coming online in state by state. So that stigma is going away. It's amazing how many people I have who are 60, 70 years and older who are really interested in it. The people that would have labeled it as bad and drug,
Yeah.
more than anyone. And so that goes away really fast. And I think the beauty of that is it allows us to really start relearning what the benefits of this was. I mean, the fact that this was classified as a Schedule 1 narcotic up until, just a couple of years ago, it's
Right.
crazy, right? In the same class as heroin. So, I think this is a very natural, medical solution that has been used. The ancient Chinese used it for a very long time. They were aware of the endocannabinoid system, which we rediscovered in the 90s that we have. And so this is the system that completely regulates our recovery. And so for training, it's hypercritical. In yoga, we discuss that a lot. You have your systems that are going to send you into fight or flight, and those are going to take all your resources, and they're not going to allow you to be at your best as far as recovery goes. And so when you get out of that sympathetic nervous system state and into the parasympathetic nervous system, your body is allowed to put its reserves on healing and getting back to recovering and being at its best versus always being in that fight or flight state.
So can you talk a little bit about some of the products that you have to offer? Because there's so many these days, but I've seen a couple on your website, and why you decided to go with those specific items.
Yeah, we like I said, we waited until we could have a product that we thought was at the level of quality. Our motto is always organic, always transparent, and that's the other thing. We try to be as open about everything that we do and inform our customers. So for us, we kept it really simple. We came out with a line of tinctures, so that uses our own hemp seed oil. This is another unique difference. Instead of using MCT oil or olive oil, another carrier oil, because that fat content of the oil is what carries it to the bloodstream. We're using hemp seed oil that's also grown on our farm, and that helps to maximize this entourage effect, where you're getting the full benefit of the plant. The sum is greater than the individual parts. So the oils we have they're sublingual. You put them under your tongue. We have a regular strength and an extra strength. I think the main thing to understand here with dosage is you got to try for yourself. Everyone's body is different. Everyone's system's different. So start small, start slow, and you just keep increasing to find out where you hit that sweet spot. I mean, I use a different dose for when I get up in the morning, if I'm going to go train hard, where I want to have that preventative aspect. And there's we discussed a little bit earlier, there's great studies being done around the preventative aspect of CBD for any type of brain injuries from impact. The NFL has a lot of vocal supporters around this, and MMA World does as well in preventing CTE. So we really stand by that. I use that oil in the morning, and then at night I use a higher dosage for sleeping. So I use the extra strength, which is 3,000 milligram. I take 2 full droppers. I get the most solid sleep and wake up feeling rested. And that's one of the things. I mean, we'll get into Super Elvis Gashi in a bit, but that was one of his biggest changes, was the sleep he was getting from it. And then the other product we have is our salve. and our salve is, think of it like a large, stick that you rub on. It's the new version of what Bengay used to be, right? So we have this that uses the same full spectrum organic hemp seed oil with CBD in there, and on top of that, we've made our own infusions. We're not just adding something in. We actually soak it in our oil, and we use arnica and birch bark. And so those are amazing for their healing properties, for anti-bruising, for recovery and soreness. So, and black birch has the same component that's used in aspirin. So, it's these natural medicines that just really work well together. That one, I think, is the best for pre and post workout.
So you couldn't be more educated on this topic. I mean, you were just spewing off. Yeah, dude. And so it makes me wonder, like, when did you start getting on board with this, and just to make sure you knew every pinpoint of the book to make sure that your product was going to be one of the best on the market?
Yeah, I mean, look, I want to be clear. I'm by no means a leading expert or anything like that, but I'm living it day in, day out, and we're learning more and more every day. We're in it, and that's all we do. It's the same way we take on everything in our lives. Is we just try to get as informed as we can be. We then try to catch up to where the market is and figure out how we leapfrog that. We're always looking at innovation and ways that we can improve it and really take it to that next level. We do a lot of testing. We have our own greenhouse, so we're growing different strains of CBD in the greenhouse. We're also growing other, components that we're going to use for essential oils and additives to help support the function of it. So really, we're just experimenting and finding out what works best. And we know when we create a sample and, they disappear, like we're all using them and all down. We know that we have something that's working good. We don't bullshit ourselves. We don't bullshit our customers. And so that's really, the ethos we work off of.
Yeah. And that's wonderful. And it's one of those things that it needs to be established, because with so many people that are trying to get in this market, it really needs some stand-up people that provide some good products opposed to trying to make the quick buck. So we were talking a little bit about Super Elvis Gashi, right? Yeah, absolute stud. You said you got involved with him because of one of your business partners training with him at Henzo Gracie in New York. So what's he like to deal with as far as a customer? What he's like to deal with as far as an athlete goes? I mean, what's some of his ailments that your product really helps him with?
Yeah. I mean, look, Elvis is just the nicest guy. He couldn't be more of an opposite out of the ring than when he's in the ring. I mean, he's a total beast when he's in fight mode. And, we've gone and filmed him training. He's just so relentless and just so dialed in and committed to going, every last inch. I think the same thing goes for his recovery. He, and his prevention. He does a lot of work on making sure that he's taking care of his body so that it can perform at its best. And I think also we really fell in love with the fact that he came up from out of nowhere and, just has fought his way to the top. And he's just, amazing. He has amazing hometown pride from his home country. His followership that come along with him and support him. It's just got this really family and communal vibe that we really gel with. And so it was very easy to get behind him. And, he couldn't be easier to work with as a partner. So, that's been great. And then, for us, it's been great just being able to see how our products impact him. We have, our CBD. We also have a line of organic snack products as well. So, first seeing how, he was using that when he was just needing fuel to keep on training hard. But then as we introduced CBD, he started with the tincture and he couldn't believe how deeply he slept. He would train hard, but he would still always be a little restless and he'd be on edge and he'd wake up early. He was like, I couldn't believe it. I slept. My fiance gets up in the morning to go to work. I didn't even know. Like I got up. He's, loved that. He's gotten that full recovery from his sleep and woke up feeling rested. And then as far as the salve goes, same thing that we all love about it. It's easy. It's like this big. You just throw it in your bag and it's, easy to pull out whenever, put it on before training and then after. And, it's a natural anesthetic. So it helps to numb areas. So anywhere you are bruised or feeling, joint pain, you put it on and you get some immediate relief as well as that long term. So those are,
No, go ahead.
no, those are the main points, really.
So, and I wanted to talk about some of the key points of your product that separates you from the rest. Some of the things that you want to break down that separates Eaton's Hemp CBD different from anybody else.
Yeah, so I touched on a couple of these, but for the tinctures, we use our own hemp seed oil as the carrier base. That's an important one to note. It allows for that overall benefit of the CBD. It's USDA certified organic. That's a great way to know that you don't have any toxins, any pesticides that are getting into the product itself. Unfiltered and full spectrum, which are really important. Again, that means you're getting the full profile of cannabinoids, the CBD, and the terpenes, which gives you that maximum effect. And, we're also all here in New York. It's all done here. Everything's U.S. grown. Some of it's on our farm and partner farms. And so we keep it all really tight under our own purview. And then as far as the salves go, it's really about mixing it with some other, still using organic, unfiltered, full spectrum, but then bringing in things like, organic essential oils, peppermint to build some heat when you're applying it, and then the arnica and birch bark. So, it's really about all those components.
So we were talking a little bit about earlier about Super Elvis. I want to talk about so many fighters are going to CBD and looking for that natural sense of relief and the every bit of the recovery that comes with it. What are you guys at Eaton's Hemp CBD looking for in an athlete that you might consider sponsoring an athlete?
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, we try to keep it away from being a strictly transactional thing. So we want real people who are passionate, living their passion, and it's just so clear that that's what they're made to do. They're doing it from their heart, and they can't do anything but that. And so that's the price of admission for us. Next thing is, they have to love the product. And like, there's no bullshitting around it. It's like, don't fine, but you need to really feel the benefits of it for that to work. And we like people who have a very clear vision of where they're going and just a super focus to make it happen. Obviously, people who bring a crowd along with them is always exciting.
Right. Now, if you were to say your mission statement, closing it down, and how people can get in touch with you, as well as throw that little promo code in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's your mission statement for your company, period? What do you want the fighters, what the consumers, everybody to know? What is your mission statement, and how can the fans and any consumers get your product?
Yeah, look, for us, it's really about leveraging the power of the hemp plant, in CBD form to help people to take their own health back into their own hands. It's really important for us that people feel empowered to be responsible for their own health and wellness, and we're going to continue to provide products that help you to do that. And today we're looking to make it as easy as possible. This is the highest we go on our CBD sale, so we're going to give you guys a code for 30% off. Hold on, I have the code here somewhere. It's MMA30, easy enough. So use the code MMA30 at checkout. You'll get 30% off. We're also going to give you guys a money-back guarantee. So 30 days, try it. You don't like it, we're going to make it as easy as possible. We're that confident that you are going to like it. But more importantly, we want people to try it. We know that a lot of people are curious about CBD. There's a lot of options out there. We believe that we have an edge, and we also want to make sure that you don't get stuck trying something for your first time that's subpar and gives you a bad taste. So, please, if you have any questions, reach out to us. I'll give you a contact for folks to reach out with any questions. We're all about making sure that people feel informed and they know what they're getting. So please reach out.
Awesome, man. Well, Bryan, I do appreciate you taking the time. I love seeing the passion that you're putting into your product and bringing the cannabis plant to light. It's helped me wonders. I can't say it enough. It's absolutely changed my life. So seeing somebody passionately talk about it like yourself, it's wonderful to see. And I appreciate you taking the time, man. Best of luck.
Thank you so much. And thanks to all the fans out there.
All right, there he goes, Bryan D'Alessandro. And he is for Eaton's Hemp CBD. Make sure you use that code MMA30 to get your discount. And again, like I said, Bryan, I do appreciate your time.
Thank you.
All right, brother.